Welcome to episode 3 of Vet Talks, powered by MetaVet Plus. I'm your host of the day, Diana Nitu, project manager at AVBB, and our guest of the day is Veerle Ponnet from Europass Teachers Academy.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the invitation.
So I think we'll start a bit more about yourself. So can you tell us more about your career path and your journey that took you here?
Okay, yeah, where do I start? I started off working in tourism, actually. So I studied economics at the university in Ghent, here in Belgium. And then at the age of 24, when I finished studying, I moved to Ibiza, to Spain, to start working in tourism. Now, I wasn't actually a great student. I was kind of the type of student that does the studying just before the exam and just passes all the exams. But I wasn't really into studying. I was much more interested in student life as such. So when I started working in tourism, that's where I got to. I've always been interested in languages. Language as such has always been a passion of mine. So through tourism and through working in different countries, that's how I developed my speaking skills in 5 different languages. So at a certain point, then people started asking, okay, can you teach me German? Can you teach me French? Can you teach me Spanish? And I was like, you know what? Speaking a language is not exactly the same as teaching a language. So that's when I started studying again at the age of 38. I studied a master's in applied linguistics to teaching English as a foreign language. And that's when I became a good student. That's when I started studying because of the love of learning. So I wanted to know, like, why am I good at languages? How come other people find it so difficult? And I started kind of a deep dive into knowing more about the brain. And I started a course on Neuro-language coaching. I became a Neuro-language coach. Then I discovered that there was a master's on educational neuroscience. Then I became a life coach first as well. Then I then I studied a master's in educational neuroscience. And then what did I do then? Then I went on and I studied executive leadership at the Oxford University together with Said Business School. And then I decided, well, it's time for me to pass on all that information, because if it just stays with me, you know, what's the point? I want to pass that information on, and that's how I got into teacher training.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I think you've had a whole journey from, you've got to enjoy student life, but then ultimately you found your love of studying and then your passion.
Well, I forgot to mention that I did teach in the classroom for several years as well, while I was studying, basically.
That's for which ages?
I have done everything from kindergarten to primary to secondary to teacher training to executive trainings.
So we've got to see students of all ages.
So yeah, that's why it's nice to be able to share everything and to share that information and to make sure that there's more people that know about the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lovely. And now you're a teacher at Europass Teachers Academy.
Yeah.
So could you tell us more about Europass Teachers Academy in general, kind of how it came to be and its main core values and its main aims?
Yeah, so Europass Teacher Academy came into my life at the end of the pandemic. I started as a teacher trainer in Tenerife in Spain, mainly because the job that I had before was an academic director for summer school, so I used to organize as well courses for students from over 25 different countries in the UK. Summer school at 7 schools, 5,000 students every summer. But obviously all of that came to an end during the pandemic. So I started, and my ex-colleague from one of the schools, a co-teacher of mine, she started with Europass Teacher Academy. And she said, well, we need trainers. Could you be one of the Europass trainers? And I started doing that in Tenerife, and I loved it. I loved it because every week we have participants from many different countries on the courses. It's beautiful to see how they learn from each other, how we learn, because I usually say, like, a good course is when at the end of the course, I can say, I have learned just as much as the information that I have shared, because it's all about coming together, about people from different countries. You come from Italy, you share your teaching experience. You come from Finland, you share your teaching experience. The realities in each one of those European countries is so different, but we can all learn so much from each other somehow, and that's the beauty of it. And then when Davide, who is the owner of Europass Teacher Academy, asked me, will you move to Belgium and start Europass Teacher Academy in Belgium? I said yes. Even though I'm leaving the sun behind and the easy living behind, I'm very, very excited about this, because I do believe that it's important at the heart of Europe to have that location as well. And this is where it all started.
And we welcome you warmly in Brussels.
Yeah.
And we're happy that you're here.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, because I mean, as you mentioned, you have you train teachers from all over the world, and it's such a multicultural settings, and you learn from them, as you mentioned, and they learn from you, but they also learn from each other, and it's I think that's really great. I think it's something that it opens dialogue. But as I understood, Europass trains around 25,000 teachers per year.
A bit more this year.
Oh, a bit more. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So from your experience, what are kind of the core skills that teachers need to keep up with all of these changes and the new technologies, and to make sure that their materials still stay on track?
Well, it will come as no surprise that digitalization is a big theme now, and teachers don't have the support that they need. They know something is there. They know this new AI is coming up. Well, it's already there, but they don't have the time actually to start practicing with it. So for me, there's two very important things. One is digitalization. So first of all, it was the teaching apps, use of technology, and all of that. Now AI comes to that package as well. And then the other thing is learning how to learn, because more and more we are aware of the fact that, we know the curriculum, we know the content that needs to be taught, but do we know how to bring it to the students so that they can actually learn, and so that they can actually make it go from their short-term memory into the long-term memory? Because otherwise what we've got is bulimic learning. You study before an exam, you vomit everything, all the information on the exam, you pass the exam, and a week later you don't know anything about anything anymore. So how do we change education? How do we change our teaching methodology so that the learning will actually stick? That is for me the one thing, and digitalization the other one.
And with digitalization, from what you've seen, how open are, at least the teachers that you train, how open are they to accept kind of these new methods, or would they rather stick to their old ones?
So there's two types of teachers that join the courses on anything that's ICT. The one are very enthusiastic. They want to know everything about it. They want to know. They use the time, and that's also, I think, very important during the Europass teacher training courses, that they're very practical, because we can give a list of YouTube videos, a list of research to anyone to read. The thing is, you don't have the time to do that. So what we need during those teacher training courses is actually to put it all into practice during those 5 days or 3 days, however long the course may last, that they are with us. What we want is to give selected information that we have pre-selected for them, the core skills of anything that they are learning during those 3 days or 5 days, and put it into practice and give them that time to practice. And that's what they can take back then. So we need actionable takeaways, really. So we've got the teachers that are really enthusiastic and they're really looking forward to this, but then we've got the other type of teachers who are really worried about the futures. And I'm a tech optimist, I'm a tech enthusiast, but I do know and I do understand what they are worried about. Because right now, with AI, either you accept that privacy is not really top priority, or you don't use it. So we've got those teachers that are really worried about privacy and looking for tools that will respect the privacy, which very little tools exist as of yet. There's a few German ones, but not much. There's not much out there. And then, okay, what can we do? How can we use it? And try and protect our data as much as possible. There are people that are very worried about it, and then other people who are very enthusiastic somehow. But all of them have one thing in common, is that they lack the time during their teaching practice at the school to go and discover it for themselves.
And this is where you come in and you provide them the core information.
Exactly.
Mm. And for this, because I'm assuming everything changes, I think, so fast right now, and it's changing faster and faster. Do you have maybe a sort of a feedback loop set up where, you know, after your courses, you maybe check in with your students, well, teacher students, so to say, and see how they've done in implementing, and if there's any kind of challenges? And I'm assuming you adapt your courses based on all of this.
Definitely. So, so I designed the first AI course 2 years ago in February. Now, the way I designed it is completely different from what is being taught in the classroom now, and that's just one example. That is true for all of the courses. So we have, on our website, you will be able to check the course or the tentative course schedule. Now, before the course takes place, we invite all of our participants to add a post on our Padlet to talk about a little bit more about themselves and to tell us like what they expect from the course. Now, why is that important? Because, as I said, especially like the course outline for an AI course that was written 2 years ago, that has changed by now. But also, you might have, within a course, you might have primary education teachers, you might have adult education, you might have vocational, you might have school leaders in a course. So the big advantage of having these courses in small groups is that we can tailor those courses to whoever is there at that moment and give them exactly what they need. Now, we ask them, the participants, to complete that information on the Padlet like a week before they join us in the course, so that we can still adjust the course schedule or the content of the course. Now, when I'm teaching the course myself, obviously that's easy. When one of the trainers is teaching the course, then I will have a meeting with them. Okay, like, during this course, you've got that and that and that type of teacher. Make sure that you focus on this and this and this. Now, afterwards, we have monthly check-ins with our trainers. Okay, what's going well? What is not going so well? One of the recurring issues will always be like, okay, when teachers are joining the course and their English level is not as good. But luckily, we've got technology now to help us with that as well. So there's definitely like a constant, you know, working on leadership, working on effective communication.
A potential AI translator, you know?
Yeah, we are using those.
Ah, yes, okay.
Yeah, we are using those. For example, we had a school principal from Portugal a few months ago. He was really interested in the topic. He understood whatever was being said, but he couldn't express what he wanted to say in English. So we just had the translation, the simultaneous translation running the whole time, okay, so that he was able to participate seamlessly.
So there's always ways to kind of...
There's always a way.
Ways to manage the challenges.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, I wanted to switch gears for a second and move on to a different topic, which is lifelong learning.
Yeah.
It's a shared value between both EVB and the European Teachers Academy. And so I wanted to ask you, why do you think lifelong learning is so crucial? And how do you see your role as a teacher in promoting lifelong learning and in the whole lifelong learning process?
Well, first of all, it's my life story, right? I keep studying. Once I discovered the love for learning, I haven't stopped learning. And one thing that became very important to me is to realize, and that is, I think, a tagline that I use a lot, and that is probably one of my life mottos, is like, sharing is caring. It means like whatever you learn, like we live in a society like where what we learn at university, this will no longer be what we do the rest of our lives. it has changed. Society has changed.
I've seen that a lot.
I started in economics and then tourism, and then I kept on studying. It's no longer when you, okay, maybe it might be difficult to change gears, to shift gears if you're a doctor, but like anything else really, if it's not like very limited skills somehow, people are evolving. Society is evolving. So how can you not want to be a part of lifelong learning? Like anything you do, even, I mean, lifelong learning, I was talking about a doctor, they will not change to a different profession. But can you imagine when a doctor goes to university, they've been at university 40 years ago, but they don't believe in lifelong learning? Would you want to go to that doctor?
No.
Exactly. So, and it's the same for everything. So some people will shift gears, but very often what we see now is you study something at university and then you change careers a few times in your lifetime. So in order to do that, you need to upskill, and you need to be a part of the lifelong, you need to be on that lifelong learning journey. And teachers as well. I mean, the students that we have in the classroom today are not the same students that we had 20, 30 years ago. Students have changed as well. Technology is changing. Content is changing. What is true today, or what we know to be true today, we might have been taught something different 20 years, or I might have been taught something different a few years ago about the topic. So those teachers that come with us on the teacher training courses, one thing I always say is like, thank you for being here, because you are important. And I know that a lot of people will probably think, oh, you're going on a holiday, you're doing a course in Belgium, some tourism, brilliant. Well, actually, those teachers, they are spending some of the time that they could be at home with their families taking a course. And let's remember, maybe they're not in the classroom teaching, but they still have all their admin to do in the afternoon. So they are investing not only in their future, but in the future of all the students that are in their classroom, in the future of the educators that are a part of their school community as well, because they will disseminate once they get back. And education is our future. If there's no education, there's nothing. So that's where it all starts.
Yes. I've noticed, as you said, I've noticed a lot that it becomes more and more that people that study at university, they tend to veer off that path and find a different career. And it takes a couple of tries. For the lucky ones, maybe one, only to figure out what you want to do and what is your passion. But it's a process. You constantly need to learn, even if you do stick to the path that you chose in the beginning, that you studied. Things change, the environment changes, the work requires different skills. So yes, it's a long process.
And there's no right and wrong. Every person is different, and so the career path will be different for every single one as well.
Exactly, yes.
So, but one thing is certain: even if you stick on the same career path, you'll still have to keep on learning.
In a way, we're all lifelong learners.
Yeah.
But yes, I wanted to, in their lifelong learning path at the European Teachers Academy, what can you say, what are the unique resources and opportunities that you offer to your students to highlight your courses?
The network, because it is unique when you are in a classroom with 5 or 6 different nationalities. How often do you get that possibility? How often do you get that opportunity to be able to share and say, hey, what's it like in Romania? Just the small things, school times. When do you start? When do you finish? What are the holidays? How do you deal, like, for example, what we see a lot during the neurodiversity courses is like, okay, how do you deal with students with neurodiversity? I once had a teacher, I can't remember which country she was from, but I do remember that she was a one-to-one teacher with a student that could only move their eyes. So this student was in a wheelchair, and she had a technology like on the screen where the student would be able to move and to read the information and move the screen only with their eyes. So for that teacher, sharing her her experience with everyone else, that was just so valuable. And with every single course, there is something like that. Connections are made. Connections are made, and what is so unique is that in the course of 5 days, okay, 5 days is not going to give you a master's degree, but it is going to give everyone actionable takeaways. And we are always going to tailor something that you can use, that you can use, that you can use, so that when you get back home, to your school, then actually you say, yes, yeah, I'm starting tomorrow, and I might be tired because I've been traveling, but I know what I'm going to do. And that's the main thing for me. I got an email a few months ago from a teacher from Bordeaux, from France. She was on an educational neuroscience course, and she wrote an email to me 6 months after she took the course, and she said, I'm in Amsterdam now taking another course, and I was just thinking that I never sent you an email saying thank you, because I was on the verge of a burnout when I went to the course in Ghent, and I have found my passion for teaching again, and I just wanted to thank you for that. This was an email that I received 6 months after the course took place. So we're not going to have that result on every single teacher. And not everyone is going to say it or share it with us either. But you know what? Every single one counts. And so that's the difference, I think, we make.
I think it's something you never know where you're going to find your inspiration or your passion from.
No.
And having such a pool of different cultures, different mindsets, different opinions, like it kind of opens you up to things you never know, perspectives that you never even knew existed or even contemplated.
Exactly.
So I think it's a great opportunity, and every time there's multicultural, multinational events or courses or anything, I think it's always great because it brings people together.
Exactly, and I have no idea what things are like. I might have seen something on television. What's it like in Finland? What is it like but it's very different when you actually talk to the people and when you hear it from, in their own words, what their reality is like.
Like you said, you don't hear back from everybody, but from the ones that you do, it means a lot, and it means a lot,
and it just gives you that extra bit of energy to start the next course and say,
exactly.
Yes, I did that.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Well, to close, do you have a message for teachers and educators who are also working to create a more dynamic educational environment?
To create a more dynamic educational environment, I would say, listen. Listen to your students, listen to your colleagues, communicate more effectively. We tend to get into a certain routine somehow where you know the content, you know your students, you just go day by day, and we kind of forget to have fun while we do it. And sometimes we get stressed, and I'm talking as a teacher trainer or as a teacher here as well. Sometimes we get stressed and we prepare our content and we've got everything in place because the first hour I'm going to do this and then the second hour I'm going to do that, and we don't actually listen to our participants or to our students, and they might have brilliant ideas. Or maybe it's not such a good idea, but they say something and it triggers another idea in your head as well. So we have to realize that whoever is in education, you're in it because you believe in the future. You want to build a better future. And sometimes when you get into that routine, we forget about that. So listen to your students. And more importantly, as I was saying, like between EVBB and Europass, building a network, building a community, that is the first step of learning. Because when you have a community, then I want to listen to you, you want to listen to me, we are sharing the information that we have. Now, if we share the information that we have, we all benefit from it. Stronger together, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is what the last point I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Is that I'm very happy to announce that we will be joining forces, EVBB and European Teachers Academy. We will be hosting the courses for Belgium, for Brussels specifically. So I am, and my colleagues and everybody too, very excited to see the potential, to see the outcome, and we hope that we can help you grow with the courses, with the network, and vice versa. And we hope that we can make a good connection between both of each other.
Exactly. Our views are aligned.
Exactly.
Our views are aligned. We, in different areas, we both want the same thing. So as I said, joining forces is only going to make this better for everyone.
Yes, I'm very happy for this collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for coming and visiting our offices. And thank you for listening. And we'll see you next time on our next episode.